Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera dan salam produktif. Anda bersama saya, Haiqal Hadi bin Mohamad Ibrahim dari Malaysia Productivity Corporation, MPC, dalam program MPC Productivity Talk siri ke-30 setiap Jumaat jam 3 petang di MPC FB Live. Jangan ke mana-mana. Pada hari ini, kami bawakan anda satu topik yang menarik bertajuk Awakening Digital Leadership. Saya, Haiqal Hadi bin Mohamad Ibrahim, bersama-sama Encik Aiman Zakwan Zahari daripada Nexus Productivity Digital dan yang berbahagia, Dato Chuan Beng, Champion Nexus Productivity Digital. Tanpa melengahkan masa, saya mempersilakan Encik Aiman Zakwan Zahari untuk memulakan perbincangan kita pada hari ini.
Hi Dato. Thank you so much for being here for the productivity talk this week. Apa khabar Dato?
Very well. Thank you Aiman for inviting me here.
Okay. You were known as being strong advocates for digital leadership. What is digital leadership Dato?
What is digital leadership? Example is like MPC. What we are doing today, it is a demonstration of digital leadership.
Yes.
Where you see we want to reach out to a lot of people through all these digital channels. Now, let us get a bit more into the meat of it. Digital leadership would mean someone who actually will envisage a breakthrough organization, a breakthrough people with the digital enablement. And therefore, it is encapsulated in this phrase called Go Big with Digital.
Go big with digital, a very strong slogan initiated by Dato since 2020. So we've been talking about the mindset change in every new thing, including the digitalization. Why is it now, Dato? Why is it different? Is it any different now?
Well, Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. So if we want to have better organization, better life for our people, then we need to have a better mindset, a growth mindset, and a mindset that want to actually seek improvement. And in this digital era, in fact, it is evident that the improvement, especially the breakthrough improvement, can usually come about with the digitalization. So therefore, the first thing is this: we must want to grow, we must want to embrace technology, we want to bring better and breakthrough result.
Now, we are talking about the concept. Now, let's talk about the people, the talent, the individual, the enabler. So, we are talking about a leader. So, what is the role of a leader in the digital transformation in the company?
A leader is actually responsible for the culture of the organization. Then for the digitalization, the company need to have that comfort to embrace all kind of digital technology and digital enablement and allow people to experiment with things. It is the new culture. The culture of taking some risks.
Yes.
And also to learn from any failure. Failure is okay. Fail fast, learn quick. And that is actually a culture that's easier said than done.
Yes.
And only through a leader that's enlightened that could accept this and therefore promote this as a culture. And secondly, it is also to put like digital first or mobile first in a lot of things. Internal process, customer service, product development. If we have this digital first and mobile first, chances is that it's going to drive the organization towards a better prepared situation in order to face the customers and face all the internal operational requirement.
So you are talking about to change the culture, whether it's in the process, in the service, or in the product. So maybe you can highlight more on what needs to be done first. Is that awareness, or to get the financial capacity, or to get the expert?
No one knows it all.
Yeah.
Now the leader need to have the vision.
Yeah,
And then to support the people who could go through the process of digitalization. Now you ask which one come first. Apart from the vision, there's a need to also define what will be the breakthrough goal that the organization want to achieve. Now to do that, then what kind of gap in the talent that we have today? So how to close the gap? And I will encourage us to recruit a lot of younger people as well, while upgrading, cross-train and up-train the existing workforce. Now, in terms of the finance, a lot of digitalization today, it is made so affordable. In the past, you need to buy a mainframe system. Now you don't have to. You subscribe to a cloud service. You have the very vast computing power. You have unlimited storage. And by using certain platforms, certain application, and subscribe to at a fraction of the cost, you can have a capability like a huge multinational companies. So the investment need not be a lot. However, we need to actually take the interest to learn, to select, to embrace, and to make it like part of our life.
Yeah. So you are mentioning about how even the small companies can grow big, can do what big companies can do. So maybe you can elaborate even more on what is the goal that the company would like to achieve. Is this from the digitalization? Is it to get better profit, or saving costs, operation efficiency, or what is it, Dato?
I recall in the Harvard Business School years ago, in the Harvard Business Review, it says that organizations that achieve excellence, normally there are 3 areas for them to actually work on. Number 1 is anything to do with the customer. Number 2, it is about internal efficiency. Number 3 is to have the product or the services that deliver outstanding values. Now, if you look at digitalization, then it is applicable to all 3 of them. Number 1, anything to do with customer, from the customers, what they call that, the lead generation, branding, and customer acquisition, then delivery, customer service, to promote, eventually to create that state of customer loyalty, 360 degree of how customer experience our products and services can be digitalized. Number 2, to reduce the cost by improving the efficiency. So internally, there are a lot of areas in the operation, in the company, anything from HR to finance, to inventory, to the production, to all this logistic. There are plenty of rooms for digitalization. And then the third one is about product creation or service creation. If we embed in digitalization, then it gives a very full experience, physically as well as digitally. So you see that when we can excel in these 3 pillars of any company, then we will be able to achieve the new breakthrough in terms of increasing sales, increasing profit, reducing costs, and most importantly, increasing the customer satisfaction and the loyalty.
Okay, Dato. You are talking about the digitalization, the culture, the talent, the reskill and upskill to embrace for digitalization. What about the generational gap between the younger and older generations? Any take for that, Dato?
Yeah. Well, when we embrace a digital culture, we cut through the different strata actually. So in any organization, we may have the people that comes from the different generation. We have Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and now we're talking about Gen Alpha.
Then far.
So all these generation, even though yes, they may have different upbringing, they may have actually different ways of consuming information. But one big equalizer is this: everyone actually uses the mobile phone.
Yes.
And in fact, it is a common screen for communication. We can still have face-to-face. We need to supplement with also the digital screen. And when we do that, actually a lot of communication, it need not go through layers. It can go straight to everyone. So that's why even though management, you need to have that so-called different hierarchy, but when it comes to communication, it is actually best performed directly both ways. So as such, it is to take the best advantage of the digital era. The information from the top could reach the bottommost instantaneously, and also from the bottommost, that it can be reflected to the top leadership. And as such, that could provide for a very quick response. And as such, the organization becomes agile because of the communication, even though we still maintain some management structure.
Yes.
Yeah. So I believe that even though we may have different organization, the leader and the culture, it is to be promoted such that everyone eventually feel very comfortable with that kind of digital tools and then embrace that. And also everyone respect the need for direct communication rather than having like all these layers of information being passed down and up. And that actually will not help in improving the productivity. So productivity would have very substantial part of it driven by communication. If you can solve that, half the problems are solved. Productivity will be increased.
Yes, thank you. Communication is the key, and at the same time, to manage our expectation with the stakeholders to deliver success for the organizations. So Dato, we are talking about leadership, communication, talent, and also technology. So can you share something that actually can create spark for organizations, especially the small ones, to digitalize their company?
Often we say that survival is a mother of all the innovation. If there is a survival issue, if there's a big crisis confronting the survival, that is actually the best impetus for the kind of the spark.
Yes.
However, we also have a saying that's in time of peace, think of danger. So continuous improvement, it is a good culture, and as such, that becomes a continuous spark. If you recall those days during the total quality management,
Yes.
continuous improvement is actually embedded in the whole process of quality improvement. And in this case, for digitalization, continuous improvement is embedded into the application of the digitalization. So as such, we must also consider using data, how to help us to improve, because when we have data, that gives us the right information. When we have information, we can develop into new wisdom of how the situation arise, and therefore how to better serve the customer, how to upsell certain products, how to cross-sell certain products based on the needs and the profile of the customers as a result of us being able to gather a lot of data. And lastly, I will use the word data is actually the new goal.
Yes.
In this digital era, we are going to be able to generate or gather a lot of data. So we need to be able to make good sense of all of that. And a digital leader and digital organization make the best use of data in order to mine the new goal out of the data.
Yes.
And I would wish all of you every success in turning your data into gold in this digital era.
Yes. That data is the new goal. Data describe and prescribe and also predict the future.
Exactly.
Okay. So Dato, my last question of the day. Okay. How other digital leaders can inspire other leaders to transform their company for digitalization. Do you mind to share your thought and also what DPNs are doing for that?
DPN, we have been using various case studies in order to inspire the wide ranges of the industry to go digital, go big with digital. And we have produced, a video, very interesting case of the Farm Fresh, how they actually use digital technology as well as data since like number of years ago, 10 years ago, as a foundation for them to manage the growth, to manage the farm, to manage the customer service, to acquire new customers, to make sure that it's actually fresh on the table. So that has become such a huge success story. And this year, Farm Fresh has just been listed with the flying colors. Now, prior to that, we also have seen many other examples, way back even 20 years ago. That is actually AirAsia. They did have, sales officers. At that point in time, internet was also not very accessible. But they did everything online back then, and today they also have been doing everything online. So it is actually a great example of digitalization from the smallest company to become the world's largest low-cost carrier. And likewise, in my other companies, such as Red Tone, such as Red One, such as Mobile Money, and so forth, it is through the core of the digital enablement that we have been able to achieve the breakthrough and the success. So there are ample of cases for us to look at why companies can become so successful and otherwise. And lastly, I just want to point out that in the world's largest companies, the Fortune 100 companies, you'll find that the top 50 companies are largely digital companies. And the next 50 companies are largely digitally enabled companies, even though they may not be digital companies. So in other words, 100% of the companies there are heavily digitalized. So that has given us a very clear message that we either succeed with digital, go big with digital, or go down.
Yeah. As a leader mesti berani buat keputusan. Salah tak apa buat keputusan. Biasalah buat keputusan salah kan. Cerita comfort zone ni dah lama dah. Dah lama dah kita cerita leader-leader bercerita pasal comfort zone. Leader sendiri bercerita pasal comfort zone. Tapi leader tak keluar daripada comfort zone. Macam mana nak buah nak keluar?
Siapa sangka setiap kawan lebih 18 tahun berjaya menjadi batu asas
Agrotourism Centre hasil kerjasama Farm Fresh dan Universiti Putra Malaysia.
Kalau you compare last 10 years, kita bermula 2010 kan sampai sekarang dah 10 tahun. 60 ekor lembu tak ada apalah cerita nak pengurusan 60 ekor lembu, 2-3 orang pun boleh jaga kan. Kita buat semua manually, buat sendiri. Jadi untuk mencapai economy of scale yang itu kita kena expand. Ekonomi of scale tu untuk you tambah orang pengurusan, untuk tambah ini, dia tak beri pulangan yang sewajarnya kerana ekonomi of scale tu tak cukup. Our mission ialah untuk produce fresh milk yang sedap and then deliver within 48 jam secara konsisten, dan itu adalah KPI kita untuk ladang yang ini. Untuk menguruskan itu, kalau kata tak ada satu sistem yang efisien, delivery system kita tak sampai. Bila barang premium, harga dia mestilah premium juga. Tapi kita dekat Farm Fresh, kita nak bagi harga yang affordable. Digital teknologi yang ada dalam ni ialah daripada segi pengumpulan data. Jadi kita kena ada data-data yang spesifik untuk kita tahu prestasi ladang dan pengeluaran lembu kita. Bila kita dah tahu data-data ni, kita dapat troubleshoot. Data tu penting untuk kita. Kalau kata kita tak ada di digital punya maklumat, kita tak tahu nak buat apa. Kita just assume. So, sebagai leader, kita dapat full control dengan kita boleh akses kepada data-data yang tadi supaya memudahkan kita untuk buat keputusan. Sebelumnya saya guna rapid exit. Jadi itu limitasi dia, satu hari saya boleh perah 800 hingga 900 ekor. Dengan mesin yang baru ni saya boleh perah sekarang 1200 hingga 1500 ekor. Jadi pengeluaran lebih tinggi. Dengan tracking system boleh meningkatkan kita punya integriti dalam supply chain untuk kita deliver produk yang terbaik kepada consumer kita. Kalau you tak betul-betul jaga susu itu kan, belum sampai kita nak manufacture dekat kilang pun dia dah rosak. So tracking system ni sangat penting dan consumer kita rasa selamat untuk menggunakan produk kita dan dia akan loyal dengan produk kita kerana dia rasa this is produk yang boleh kami percayai. Online platform adalah salah satu kaedah di syarikat kami macam mana kita mengumpulkan data untuk kita tengok customer behaviour. Kita nak tengok pola pembelian, SKU mana yang laku. Jadi data-data macam ini kita tahu kita nak buat promotion of sales kita dan planning kita punya production pula. Dan tak ada banyak wastage dan kita boleh save dekat situ. Leader kena berani untuk invest. Banyak faedah yang kita boleh dapat daripada invest dekat digital ni. Bila dah skala yang besar ni, memang kita sangat memerlukan digital teknologi. Kita tak boleh lagi manual. If you want to grow big, kita kena berani ambil keputusan untuk invest dan how to penetrate the market, how to break the market. Tapi kalau kata kita masih tak nak terbuka dengan teknologi baru, saya ingat kita akan tertinggal. Untuk deliver produk yang bagus, kita mesti ada analisa supaya kita boleh deliver produk kita dengan selamat kepada consumer. Dan bila orang dah confident dengan produk kita, loyalty itu akan datang sendiri. Dengan digital teknologi ini dapat membantu kita menjadi pengeluar susu terbesar negara dengan sekarang market share sudah 55%. That's what make people happy, stakeholder happy, pekerja happy, everybody happy, kau pun happy.
Go big with digital or you go down. Thank you so much, Dato, for your input, for your sharing of the day. We really appreciate your time and your ideas and expertise, Dato. So remember, it's either you go big with digital or you go down. Thank you so much for your time, for joining us this week. So, go back to Haiqal.
Terima kasih kepada Encik Aiman dan yang berbahagia Dato' Chuan Beng atas perkongsiannya sangat menarik dan bermanfaat. Diharap agar ianya dapat memberi kebaikan kepada semua dalam usaha meningkatkan produktiviti dan daya saing negara. Baiklah tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, kita telah sampai di penghujung rancangan. Jumpa lagi pada minggu hadapan pada hari dan waktu yang sama, Jumaat jam 3 petang. Assalamualaikum, stay safe, kekal positif dan kekal produktif.